with Miss Bauer. I'm so glad you're here today. Now, I know the last time that we did this, I said that I might get some suggestions from you on what to make. And I like those suggestions and I have them up here in my noggin. But I found a recipe on Pinterest a while ago that I've been wanting to try. And you actually know them in the store as the little goldfish crackers. But I don't have any goldfish little templates to cut out. So we're going to make little hexagon crackers because I got this today at Hobby Lobby. So cute, right? And I also have some other little cookie cutters is what they're called to cut some stuff out with. And I'm super excited to make these little crackers. Now I will say I have never made this recipe before. So I had to write it all down to make sure that I have all the stuff I need, which is right here in front of you. And I also read on there that it makes 300 to 400 crackers. Okay, that's a lot. But then you have to think about it. That the little goldfish crackers, they're probably about that big, maybe inside that little rectangle. Like they're small, so it makes a lot. But you don't eat just one goldfish cracker, do you? No, you usually eat like a few handfuls. I would say just one handful, but it never ends up being that way. I'm really excited. Come on, let's go. All right, so the first thing that our recipe says, now remember last time I didn't follow the first direction. The first direction actually says to add cheese to a food processor and pulse it a few times. Well, I have my little food processor over there behind my flour, but it says that I need, my first ingredient says I need 8 ounces of cheddar cheese, finely grated. Now, in the video I saw, she actually shredded hers herself. And then I thought to myself, okay, I kind of want to make this a little bit easier. So maybe I should just use shredded cheese. But I'm actually going to try, handy dandy scissors. I'm going to go ahead and grate this cheese because I feel like it's just going to taste better. So I'm going to cut that off. Is this going to open easily? No, it's not. Go figure. That's okay. All right. All right, so I usually buy shredded cheese because I don't like to shred cheese because to me it just takes too long and somebody has already done all the work. But this is my cheese grater. A lot of the ones that you see kind of look like almost like a trapezoid, like that's a 3D trapezoid. But this one is not that. There are 3 different places on here I can make sliced cheese in the middle. I can do, this is where some grated, and then there's some small grates right here. I feel like the finely grated would probably do better on that one, so I'm going to try that one, and I really hope that it does well. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay, I want to stop right here for just a second because I want to show you what finely grated looks like. Now I know you're all the way over there, but do you see how small this is? Like this is some thin cheese and that's really what you want. So we're gonna get back to it. Do you see that mess? Nah, let's keep going. Cheese has been almost fully grated. Now these pieces, you have to be really careful when you're doing freshly shredded grated cheese because these things, there's little holes in this and it's really sharp because it wants to, you have to shred the cheese, which I have quite a bit of here. And I'm gonna go ahead and just not shred this, and I might give this as a treat to my dogs here in just a few minutes because they love cheese. And maybe I'll show you, we'll see. But I'm gonna go ahead and set this off to the side because number one, I feel like I have gained quite a bit of muscle in just shredding the little bit of cheese I did. And I wanna go ahead and get moved on so we can head to our next part, all right? Come on, let's go. Now that I have all of my 8 ounces of finely shredded cheese, man, that looks so good. I love cheese. Do you love cheese? Oh, love cheese. Okay, so then my first direction says, add cheese to a food processor and pulse a few times. Okay, so I have a little bitty baby one, and I will also let you know it does the trick, but because this is so little, I do not have enough space to do all of this cheese. This is not going to fit in there. So I'm only going to add a little bit of this in there because my food processor is really small and I don't want to overload it. So I think I'm going to try and cut this into fourths, which means I do a fourth of it at a time, which means maybe I won't have to make 400 crackers. So I'm just going to do a pinch and we're just going to see what it's going to do. You did not see that fall on the floor. A little bit more, let's see. I don't want to overload it. All right, lid, lock. All right, and it says to pulse it a few times, which just means I'm gonna hit the button a few times. And it's probably gonna change the consistency. So hold on, let's watch. Oh no, what now? Okay, let's pulse. Since this is so small, I went ahead and grabbed a bowl and I'm gonna put this in here so I can do the next. So I can do the next little bit, okay? Here we go. About the same consistency as what's in this bowl. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this over here. Maybe dump all that in there. Whoops. Trying to get all the cheese. Bottom. Should have just done that to start. Okay. Then the next step says to add in the flour and all of the spices and then pulse it until it is all fully incorporated. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the flour and the spices in here and then mix it all together. And then I'm gonna do it like in half. So I'm gonna do half in there first and then take it out and then do the other half. So we need a cup of flour. And here's my measuring cup. Two, because that was a half cup. And then it says I need a teaspoon of all of the rest of them. Now I do have a measuring spoon today. Well, that's not gonna work. Nah. Okay. Salt, paprika. That looks good. This is brand new. I just bought this at the store, so I have to take the seal of it off.
baking powder, paprika, and onion powder. Okay. Baking powder, I will use it for this though. So this is a half one, so I'm gonna need 2 of those. 1, 2, and I will also use it for the sugar. 1, 2. All right, so I think I might just use my little spoon to fully incorporate it. I'm just going to do a rough mix, and then I'm going to put it back in the food processor. So this is what it looks like kind of after a rough mix. And then since I added like a cup of flour, that's a whole lot more than what we started with. So I'm actually going to take this off of here because I don't want it to make a big mess. And well, it's going to make a big mess anyway, isn't it? All right, that looks good. Okay, lid. There it is. This way? Yes. All right. And then it says pulse to incorporate. All right. Okay, so that consistency definitely changed. It's definitely a lot thicker now. So I'm going to add what's already been in the food processor in this bowl. And then put this back in here because it's really hard to put it in there after I've got stuff inside it. And then add the rest of this, hopefully. Make sure this is nice and locked in place. There it goes. Wonderful. Okay. And that goes there. All right, here we go. I also think I need a bigger one of these. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to take this out of here. All right, and this is going to go in here. All right, so we have a nice flour bowl. It almost looks like cornmeal. Yum. Ooh, it smells cheesy. I like it. All right. The next step on our recipe says to add in the butter and then some water and pulse it a few more times. Now, I'm going to do this in half, so I've got my butter right here. I'm going to do this half in the first one and this in the second half. All right, ready? Come on. another part on here that I forgot to do. I also need 4 tablespoons of water, and this is a half teaspoon, so this won't do. But this will. So I'm gonna use this to add my water. I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons for this part that's already in here, and I'm gonna do 2 for the other half. Okay, here we go. I now have a good workable dough, and I can push it and mold it almost like Play-Doh. So now the next part says to move the dough to a workable surface and knead until the dough forms. So I'm gonna get a little bit of flour just in case it sticks. We're gonna put it right there, just a little sprinkle. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have touched it. And then I'm gonna dump this onto the table. For a second. And then to knead it, you're just kind of pushing it down into itself to work it and form it into a ball. And then it also says on here that if it's crumbly that I can add more water, which I might do because as you can see, there's lots of crumbs. But as I'm kneading it, it's getting a little bit better. So I may not need to do the extra water. So this dough is actually coming together quite nicely, but there are still, it's a little bit more crumbly than what I would like. So I think what I'm going to do, I think I am going to go ahead and add that extra tablespoon of water. But before I do that, maybe I'll just do half of one. But I'm going to make like a little well. You can't really see it, but make like a little well, just like a little hole. And I'm going to put the half tablespoon of water in there. Hello. All right. Half a tablespoon. We'll do about like that. Okay. All right. Into the little well. Oh, it fits perfect. Great. Don't make a mess, Miss Bauer. I'm gonna make a mess. Ooh, it just started. All right. Let's get thinking. Ooh, that's doing a lot better. Great. Great. Like that is a pretty good ball of dough. The next direction with our formed ball of dough is to divide it in half, and then it says to shape it into 2 1-inch thick discs, and a disc is just a circle. So I'm going to set this off to the side right here, and then I'm going to push it down. I have my rolling pin, but I think I'm just going to push it and see if I can get it to do what it's supposed to do. That looks to be about an inch thick. It's about what we want right there. So I'm gonna take this right here. I'm gonna put it right here. It looks like there may be just enough space for another one if I move it right there. All right, let's do the second half. Next direction says to cover and refrigerate for 30 minutes to an hour. And to cover, I am just going to grab a paper towel because it didn't really specifically say what to cover it with, but it looks pretty covered to me. Doesn't it to you? All right, I'm gonna put this in the fridge for about 45 minutes, which is right in between the half hour to hour. And right now it's almost 3 o'clock. So at 3:45, I'm gonna go ahead and come back and check on this, and it should be nice and cooled and ready for our next step, okay? All right, we'll come back in about 45 minutes. Now that my dough is in the fridge, the next step is to leave all this, right? I don't have to clean it up. I think my sister just got here. Do you think I should let her clean it up? Are you sure? I mean, all right, fine, I'll clean it up. Actually almost an hour since we last looked at our dough, or we left it in the fridge to chill. So I'm gonna go ahead and go grab it really quick. I'll be right back. Yep, still dough. Okay, so now that this is here, the next direction says to preheat oven to 350 degrees and line a baking sheet. So 350. It says to use parchment paper, but I don't have any parchment paper. I'm gonna use tin foil. And I'm also going to use this to spray so they don't stick. So then the next step says, on a floured surface, roll out each disc into a rectangle. So I'm gonna set this right here. And I put my flour away when I cleaned up, so I'm gonna grab that really quickly. Okay, floured surface. There's my kitty. Okay. Floured. No, I'm not going to tap it like I did last time because last time it didn't work very well. Okay. Sprinkle floured surface. Set that off to the side. I'm going to grab well, it's definitely not floppy. All right, so I'm gonna take this, and I bought this little rolling pin today, super cute, and I'm gonna roll it out into a rectangle. And the recipe said that it needs to be 1/8 of an inch thick. So, which is really, really, really thin. So, let me take those off because I don't need them. It is pretty thin. I'm going to use this. Hold on, let me read my instructions first. Okay, it says use a cookie cutter to cut out the crackers and move it to the prepared baking dish. So I've never used one like this before, but in the video she had an actual Goldfish one, which I thought was pretty cool. But this is the only one I could find today. So we're gonna use it. And I am just going to press it, and it should cut. The perfect little hexagons. Look at it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, since these are in here, I'm gonna pop one out so you can see. Oh, stop it, that is so cute. Oh my gosh. It's the perfect little hexagon. I could not make that if I tried. Ah, okay. I wonder how this is gonna, let's see. Oh my gosh, this is gonna fill the entire tray. Maybe they really were serious when they said 300 to 400 crackers. All right, so I'm just gonna, oh yes, this is going to be great. All right, so I'm gonna finish popping these out, and I'm going to lay them kind of close together, but not terribly close. I don't think they're going to rise too much when they bake, but I want to make sure that there is plenty of space for them if they do, but they're small, so they don't really need a whole lot of space, but I don't want them to be crowded either. Okay, so that's 10, I think. Well, that looks like a 10 frame, so 5, 10. 10, yeah, okay. So I've got 10 crackers on there. I wonder if we count by tens, if we can figure out how many we have. We gotta fix that. Okay. All right, let's cut some more hexagons. Hey, my oven beeped. It's ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull some of these off because I'm gonna re-roll this later into making more crackers. So I'm gonna put this on this plate so it doesn't get in the way and I don't accidentally cut too much. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull some of these off because I'm gonna re-roll this later into making more crackers. So I'm gonna put this on this plate so it doesn't get in the way and I don't accidentally cut too much. Okay. All right, so on my tray, I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I have 60 on my tray right now. And I think I have enough that I could possibly get 10 more down here. So 60, that would be 70. So let's see. And I might have just enough dough. So I can pinch that together. Might have just enough dough to get one more. Okay. All right, I'm gonna count these out. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Trying to rearrange a little here too. 7, 8, 9. We can make room for one more, right? 10. I'll put it right there. Doesn't really look like it goes there, but that's okay. All right. So we have about 70 crackers on here right now. And it's super, oh my gosh, this is so cute. These are so cute and little. Do you see those? Don't slide. Oh my gosh. Okay. So these have to go in the oven for 14 to 16 minutes until the bottoms are lightly browned. Okay, so timer. I'm gonna do 14 minutes and then I'll check them. Okay, we have about 7 minutes left. I wanted to see if we couldn't take a look at what they look like. Ooh, look at that. They're puffing up. Do you see that? Oh my gosh. Okay, 7 more minutes. Ooh, 6 more minutes now. Then we get to try them. So my oven just told me we have about a minute left before it is time to pull our crackers out. We got about 20 seconds. I wonder if I can get this cut and on the plate before. Oh, not gonna have time. All right, help me count down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's get it out. Hit that timer button. We're gonna push this back. And okay, some of them are a little bit more than browned. Oh my goodness. Do you see that? Okay, we're gonna leave that right there. Okay. Ooh, they move pretty easy. I wonder what they look like on the bottom. Let me see. I would call that lightly browned. Ooh, I wouldn't eat it right now. Okay. Look at them. They're so cute. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. I know we just pulled those out, but I remembered something from our recipe from earlier, so I'm going to pull it out really quick. I have it underneath this plate. It said to let cool completely before enjoying, which means I cannot take it right out of the oven and pop it in my mouth. So I'm trying to think of what I could put it on because I'm afraid if I put it on my cooling rack that they're gonna fall through the grates. So I was thinking about putting them in the fridge to make them cool faster. Let me see, let me think. Let me think on it. Hold on. I've got an idea. So I am going to use this spatula in my oven mitt because the pan just came out of the oven and I don't want to get burnt. So I'm going to use this and I'm going to scoop and put them on this plate. Ooh, do you hear that? That means they're crispy. Oh, gosh, darn. Okay, so now that I have a clean pan and a plate full of goodies, I'm going to go put it in the fridge to see if I can get them to cool completely a little bit faster. Now that those are nicely and safely tucked away in the fridge, I am going to go ahead and finish popping these out. Boop. And I'm going to put them on my still greased pan, excuse me, spatula, so the next batch can be ready to go in. Okay, here we go. Okay, they're cool to the touch, which means I can eat one. Okay, are you ready? You are kidding me. Oh. Oh my gosh, those are so good. They're so crunchy. And the cheese is so powerful. I almost think they're too crunchy. Maybe I should put that for a few minutes less. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have to put these down. I'm gonna eat them all. And then what we left to share. Thanks for cooking with Miss Bauer. Come by next time to see what we're gonna make. See you later.